Guys, it's Tinker Taylor here today, bringing you back another Pokemon build series video. Today we have Magikarp, who is a water type Pokemon, and it kind of just looks like a goldfish with zero brains, which if you've ever played the game, it kind of makes sense because all Magikarp can really do is splash, which is completely useless. And yeah, it's kind of just like a goofy little fish Pokemon that doesn't really do much, but when it evolves, it becomes pretty strong. So yeah, I don't know, with this build I thought, why not build like a little seafood restaurant, but kind of make it feel, I didn't know how quite I was going to encapsulate this, but make it feel like it was something that was just like a little bit, I don't know, there was just something not all there, and I don't know how you would exactly turn that into a build, but I wanted it just to feel like, I don't know, there's something just not here, there's just something missing, it feels a little empty. And I don't mean empty as in like not having stuff, but empty as in just like, I don't know, like just not a lot of soul and life to it. It's just like blank, empty, and I keep saying blank and empty, but that's basically the only way I can explain it. And I'm not entirely sure I reached that. I'm also not entirely sure that what I did made sense. I was not feeling 100% when I built this, so maybe I did reach it purely because I was also feeling that on the inside. I was just feeling like not all there. But I definitely had a lot of fun with it, you know? It was definitely, you know, just something a little bit different, a little bit interesting. Normally if I were building a seafood restaurant, it would be more like the one that I built in Sulani. And so yeah, I wanted this one just to be a little bit different, a little bit odd, a little bit weird, a little bit like, why? Just why? And yeah, that's kind of what we end up with. Because yeah, I don't know, I just wanted it to feel a bit odd, feel a bit weird, and I was also feeling myself a bit odd and weird. So yeah, like I said, this is a restaurant. I did set it up as a restaurant. You'll see a little bit later I do actually change it over to a restaurant to make sure I'm hitting all of the, I don't want to say goals and milestones, but all the build requirements. So yeah, if you are looking for a restaurant, go on here. It's pretty simple, pretty plain. The kitchen is downstairs. Originally I was going to have it upstairs in this little box with a bathroom, but then, I don't know, it just felt really squashed and cramped, and I was not a fan of it. So I ended up putting the basement, putting the kitchen and the bathrooms in the basement. And yeah, it was alright. Like, nothing special, nothing fantastic, but also nothing terrible, I feel. Like, it was alright. So yeah, you'll see me messing around a lot. Like, originally it was going to be really small, and then I was like, you know what, let's make it bigger. Like, too big, alright, let's shrink it down. And then I just kept making all these different changes to it. So yeah, you'll see I was a wee little bit indecisive. But I had a good time nonetheless, you know? It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like sometimes I start and I'm so confused as to what I'm doing, but then I get into it and I'm like, you know what? Okay, I feel this again. Like, we're starting to get somewhere. I feel good about this. And yeah, that's kind of how this build ends up being what it is. So yeah, like I said, I build the bathrooms downstairs, and then this room at the end here ends up being the kitchen. Nothing fancy. There's a spot for 2 chefs. I don't know if you can have more than 2 chefs. If you can, I'm sure that you can delete one of the spots and put in a third. I say one of the spots, like I put in some kitchen counters and stuff like that. I don't think they're entirely useful for this build. But yeah, you could easily delete them and add a third cooking station there. But yeah, there's space for 2. There's 2 waiter stations, 1 host station, and there is, I believe, 8 tables of 2-seaters inside and 4 outside. So there's plenty of places to sit. I didn't want to overload it too much, but yeah, like I said, there's plenty of places to sit. There's some beautiful views, and I imagine this is the sort of place where the fish is bought daily. So there is a little dock. Just if you're looking at the front door of the restaurant, like head on, if you look to the left, there is a dock, and I imagine that's, you know, early morning. That's where the fish market people, either the fish market or the chef who goes to the fish market, that's where they arrive. And then, yeah, if you're a guest, there's like a little boat or a ferry or something like that that will take you over, and yeah, you can dine at this fancy restaurant. And it's very exclusive, very hard to get to. You know, it's not something that you can kind of just like walk into, because you need to be able to get onto the, I'm gonna say ferry. They've got their own ferry. So part of it is the ferry from the mainland to the island. And then, yeah, you get to eat your seafood, and then they'll take you back to the mainland afterwards. I personally would never go to this restaurant. I've been to maybe one seafood restaurant in my life, and that was when I was a kid, and I ended up ordering a lasagna because I don't eat seafood. My family was not particularly happy that I did not get seafood at a seafood restaurant, but I don't eat seafood, yeah. I really don't like. There's many reasons why I don't like it. But that's not going to stop me from building a seafood restaurant, you know. I feel like in The Sims, you know, it's pixel fish. It's not real fish. There's no fish actually being eaten or hurt or whatever. So if anybody doesn't eat fish for those reasons, like, they're pixel fish. I don't feel personally bad for making that decision. And yeah, for those of you who do eat fish, then fantastic. There's a little seafood restaurant here. I did not make a menu or uniforms or anything like that, because I believe that when you upload it to the gallery, it deletes it and you have to make it yourself anyway. So if you do want to use this restaurant, yeah, you will have to set those things up, but it means you get to set it up to your liking rather than whatever I have it set up as. And if you don't want it to be a seafood restaurant, then you can make it whatever sort of restaurant you want. That's just what I had in mind. That's why those fish tanks are there. I didn't put any fish in the fish tanks because I felt like it was just a little bit, I don't know. I said this when I was live streaming it, because I do stream a lot of my builds, but I don't like the idea of looking at an animal and going, oh yes, that live creature right there, I would like that live creature to be on my plate, not alive, in, I don't know, half an hour to an hour. I just don't feel comfortable with that. Like, I have an understanding of, you know, I could not be vegetarian for health reasons. I just, my body would crash, and you know, even if I took all the supplements in the world, I know my body would just crash. Unfortunately, that's like, I sometimes I feel like I would want to be vegetarian. I think there's certain times where I don't know, eating a bunch of fruit and vegetables, and mostly fruit and vegetables, it feels really good in my system. It clears it out, makes me feel just nice and refreshed. But I also do start to feel sick. Like, I do make sure that if I'm eating more fruit and vegetables, that I make sure to get certain fruits and vegetables in that I know are sort of, I don't want to say replacements for meat, but replacements for meat. But I can't do it, unfortunately. And I'm really sad about that, because I really have been tossing up with it for years. And that's the one thing, is like, anytime I do sort of get into it, it never works. But also, I do like the taste of meat. It tastes good, I'm not gonna lie. But I could not look at an animal and go, you're going to be on my plate later on. Just can't do that. And again, I completely understand that, you know, for meat to be eaten, an animal must not be alive. And I get that, and I don't like thinking about that. It's really sad for me. You know, I'm very soft. I'm a very soft person, and like, I don't even want to play, I don't know if it's Paleo or Palia, but that game, because I see a lot of people shooting animals with bows and arrows, and to me, like, I know it's pixels, I know it's not real, but it hurts my little heart. I can't do it. I'm I'm the first one to say yes, I am so soft. I am the softest little creature out there. And that sort of stuff breaks my heart. I could not do it. And that's why every time I talk about, oh, I want to live on a farm, I'm very specific, like, okay, I would like to live in a farm that does, like, fruit and vegetables, or honey, or something like that. Like, I don't want to deal with animals. Even the idea of, like, okay, what if it's a dairy farm? Animals can still die, and I would be very attached to them, and I'd be very sad. If my crop, let's say I'm a carrot farmer, I doubt I'm going to be a carrot farmer, but let's just say, and if all my carrots die off, I'm going to be upset at the fact that it didn't work, but I'm not going to be heartbroken at, like, it's not an animal, I'm not attached to it, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of difference. I can always replant crops and try again and whatnot, but not, I don't know. And I'm also very attached to cows. Cows are one of my top favourite animals. I like to say that they're my second first favourite animal. Cats of any kind are my first favourite animal, but cows are, like, super close up there as well, which is why they're my second first. So yeah, I would be absolutely heartbroken if that was the case. I did get to feed a calf one time, and I think I may have died a little bit and gone to a happier place. Wherever that may be, I don't know. But I was just ecstatic at the fact that this I say little calf, but the thing was the size of a small horse. It was so happy to just be fed, and I was happy to be the one feeding it, and I love cows, man. I do. I love them so much. I want to be friends with cows, but also, like, yeah, the heartbreak of not having them when they are no longer with you. I don't know. I'm way too soft for these things. I definitely know in certain aspects of my life I do need to, I don't want to say harden up, but need to get a bit more stronger, I would say. Because yeah, sometimes it's not great to be so. I'm not an insult to anyone who is soft. Like, if you're soft like me, the world needs soft people sometimes. Sometimes it needs really hard people as well. Like, it needs a bit of everything. A bit of balance, I feel like the world just needs a little bit of balance with everything, and I feel like the world would be a little bit of place if it was like that. But anyway, I probably rambled and ranted enough about how I love cows and how soft I am and how I don't eat seafood, but yeah, if you guys want to play with this build, definitely let me know down below. I need to upload some more builds. I kind of forget to do it for a little bit, and then I have to go back and re-upload them all. But I'm currently in the middle of reinstalling my game for a second time in, like, 4 days. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll do that once I actually update it, once I actually get it all good and up and running again. But also don't worry about me not being able to do tomorrow's build. Tomorrow's build already done. So I can, mess around today and make sure it's all installed and whatnot. And then tomorrow, yeah, I'm going to get in and do some more building. If I can, I'll do some building tonight as well. That will be off stream for, like, the first time in forever. I don't know, I don't do a lot of building off stream at the moment. Most of it is all over on Twitch. But I have started to enjoy some, I don't want to say private building time, but yeah, just some building time on my own. But anyway, yeah, we are pretty much at the end here. I'm just doing some last minute landscaping, and I'll do some last minute terrain paint in a second as well. But yeah, if you want to see more stuff like this, or hear me ramble and rant about the most random things, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to hear about the A to Z challenge, which I completely forgot to talk about, I do have it linked down in the description below, so definitely go check out. That's a challenge I have coming up for you guys in a couple of weeks, and I'm so super excited for it. But yeah, until then, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.